Hello everyone, and welcome to the next installment of Moon's Magical Builds! Today I'm really excited for this one we're going to do because it's based off of a book I read. So I'm sure you guys have heard of C.S. Lewis. He's the famous writer of many things such as the Screwtape Letters, Chronicles of Narnia, and Mere Christianity. But something you might not have known about him is that he did a space trilogy. Now the space trilogy is pretty much if you took Mere Christianity and Narnia and they married and they had a kid and then you threw that kid into space. Now I've only read 2 of the 3 books since recording this intro, but hopefully by the end of the video I will have read the 3rd one as well. And in his first book, the adventurer that he has is kidnapped and taken to Mars. So what I'm going to do is replicate C.S. Lewis's idea of Mars. And if you're excited to see what that looks like, then well, stay tuned for the time lapse because we are going to get into it. Now it's time to take a closer look at what I've built. I want to warn you guys, at this point there will be some spoilers for the book, so if you want to read C.S. Lewis's the first book of his trilogy and haven't yet and don't want to be spoiled, maybe click off the video at this point. But if you don't care about spoilers or have been one of the few people who have actually read the book, then I guess we should get into explaining what I've done here. So this is my attempt at an ocean. I don't have much space. This creative server is a multiplayer server and I've already taken up a lot of space for some of these projects, so I decided to keep my ocean small. You'll notice that I use prismarine, and that is to reflect the fact that the water on this planet is supposed to be even more blue than the water on Earth, and the only way I could think of doing that is by making like the block on the bottom very blue to kind of reflect it. You can also see that there's puffs of smoke, and that's to represent the fact that the water is warmer on this planet than it is on Earth. Over here we have the spaceship that they came in. This is all very stylized, so like everything's a bit smaller than it would be, or not quite proportioned to how it would be. Like the trees would normally be taller and stuff like that. You know, I'm doing it in Minecraft, and it's also mostly from my head. Like I didn't really look at pictures of the Mars described in the book. Also, there weren't many pictures to look at. So for that reason, things might seem a bit stylized or a bit different than how you would imagine it, but that's because this is a lot of the book, but also just a lot of me. So the spaceship, they describe it as a spear, so this is the spherical spaceship that the crew came on. And as you can see, the grass is described as a whitish pink, but I have picked it to blue grass and stuff, and this stuff's actually edible, so you can eat it and get the substance. The ground's also told to be like red, but this stuff won't grow on red sand, so I voted for the pod soil as the next best option. The trees, I think I got closest. I'm really proud of these trees. The trees are described as tall, skinny, with thick leaves that are slightly transparent, and as being purple. So here's your purple, tall, lanky, slightly transparent trees. And it is a forest, so there's a lot of them. Over here we have what I like to call the giraffe birds. So they're like tall, skinny fellows who are described as having feathers and being yellow, so they remind me of feathery giraffes. And these guys, whoops, I've fallen. These guys eat the purple leaves from the top of these trees, so that's what they eat. And they're also kind of like sheep, so they get herded about by the peoples of this planet, which I think is kind of cool. If we come over here, we have the little village of some of the local aliens that live here. So I decided to use striders for these guys. When you look at the book, their descriptions are more like otters, but when I first read the book, for some reason, I thought instantly of striders. So I'm using striders. These guys, their main source of food is fish, so we have a bunch of fish cooking over their fireplace. Their houses are not described at all in the book, but I imagine they'd have to use supplies that they find like on the land for obvious reasons. So for that reason, I had them having gathered the grass of the planet to string into this, and also using the wood and stacking it up together to make their shacks. Continuing through the forest, over here we have a scene from the book where our main protagonist is standing here being confused about what this little guy is talking to, because this little guy is talking to a spirit that he is unable to see. So we have this spirit here who's he kind of catches a glimpse of it and he's a bit confused about it, but it's very slight, very barely, but this person can see him full out and just have a full-blown conversation with him. Over here we have one of the more intense scenes from the books where he's with two of his alien friends, and they're off. The goal is to attack this thing, and whoever kills it gains tons, like a load of honor and respect from the whole tribe, and I love this guy. I'm pretty sure he was supposed to be like really scary and fearsome, and somehow I made him derpy, and you know what? I don't care. I love him. I love the eyes. I do. I love this guy. He's my favorite thing about this entire build, and I know he's derpy and not scary, but I don't care. And for all we know, these aliens might think derpy is terrifying, and therefore that is terrifying to them. And we don't know. You know, things are different. You'll also notice that there's these giant walls that are extremely smooth, which he used to think were mountains and were actually really far away, but again, I have limited space, so I shrunk it in, and they're smooth and stuff because this entire chasm is carved out. So the god of this, or head spirit of this planet, had the, I call them the mole people because they sound like moles to me, and they're the ones who do all the tinkering. They were sent to dig out this entire chasm and let the river of hot water flow through, so that way they could be separate and saved from the terrible frost that this evil spirit that in the book is now ruling Earth had tried to inflict on this planet to kill him. And one thing that was also carved in was this giant staircase that leads all the way to the top, and it's supposed to be a long, like, terrible journey, so there's no stairs. If you were to take this in survival, you would have to jump every single one of these, and it would indeed take you forever, just like it took our poor hero down there forever to climb up this. But thankfully, halfway, you get this nice little spot with one of the other fellow aliens of the area, who is sitting on his little stool, standing there having a nice conversation with this traveler who's come in nearly dead due to the lack of oxygen because, you know, you're so high up. And this is another scene where he's showing him his watch. This guy was fascinated by the watch, and he actually offers for him to keep it, and he denies, saying you should give it to the, again, I'm going to call them mole people, judge away, to the mole people because they would find more enjoyment with them than he ever could. Which I think is a pretty influential and like big deal of a scene if you like really think really deeply into what that scene means. And then if you come all the way up here, all the way to the top, you'll find the wastelands of all the people who of giant aliens that I'm assuming just couldn't fit down there and therefore were left up here to die. Their bones are here, and icicles have grown over, and the snow has piled, and this took ages because all of this is hand placed, and part of me hated myself for doing it, but it looks really good, so you know what, I'm over it. There's also like little bones everywhere too, scattered. One of the big creatures that they talked about, that creatures that died, were birds. So there were actual birds on this planet, but the frost killed them all. Not sure why they didn't head down there, but I'm sure there's a reason. So all the birds did die, and now and so these bones represent the bones of the birds that have died. And over here we have the last scene that I had taken out from the book, which is these two walking along the top of this, heading on their way to the Great Grand City, where all the three types of aliens meet and gather together, and where the Great Spirit lives and is going to direct him on what he's, our protagonist, about what he's supposed to do. And as you can see, he has on his little gas thing, or his little oxygen thing, so he can breathe. I used to buy a work rocket as like his little back thing, and then just a glass pane as the mask over him, so he's getting plenty of oxygen so he doesn't die. Normally he's actually wearing like feathers. He's wearing really warm clothes because he came to the planet with warm clothes, but Minecraft won't let me do that, so he is wearing short sleeves, but pretend he's not. And yeah, that's everything that I've done. This project was really fun. It was kind of cool to have like a project that's purely in my head. Like there's no examples I can read off. This is just purely my imagination and a book I read and really enjoyed. It was really fun to get to bring something I saw in a book and that really excited me and get to bring it in life into Minecraft. So I hope I get to do more of that in the future, because this was really fun actually. I think this is my favorite build project I've done so far. Mind you, I've only done 2 others at this point, but this one's definitely my favorite, and I hope to do more like this in the future. So, you know, feel free to leave in the comments your thoughts, what you think of this. If you now want to read the book, C.S. Lewis's Space Trilogy, I would recommend it. I said in the beginning of this I had hoped to have all 3 books finished. I don't. I have 2.5 done, but I did not get the 3rd one done. In my defense, the 3rd one is longer than the other 2. It's like the other 2 combined and add 200 pages. But other than that, I also hope you guys have a beautiful and blessed day, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. Bye!